Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Juan's World. And if you were watching last week on Tuesday, you will have seen me make steak and kidney pie. And you will also have seen that I promised that I would go into detail about preparing kidneys for steak and kidney pie, steak kidney pudding, deviled kidneys, whatever. Well, today I'm going to make deviled kidneys, and in the process I'm going to show you how to prepare kidneys. In this case I have to use pig's kidneys because it's all I can get. But in the standard full English breakfast, which you can see here, there's a lot of meat. And this one has all kinds of protein in general, and tucked it away in there is some lamb's kidneys. Well, lamb's kidneys are the normal kidneys used for the full English breakfast. But deviled kidneys are also an English breakfast by themselves. The deviled kidneys on toast, as you can see here, is what I'm going to make today. So let's get started. Now, all right, the first thing I have to talk about are the different kinds of kidneys. Now, lamb's kidneys are the smallest of all of them, and usually you just cut them open. As you can see here, there's a little bit of white membrane and tubules on the inside which has to get taken out, which is quite easy with a paring knife with lamb's kidneys, and then you're good to go. And then there's ox kidneys, which I used to use a lot in the United States when I could get them. And people in the United States don't like kidneys for reasons I don't fully understand, but I think it has something to do with anatomy and what kidneys actually do. And they think that they somehow taste like what they do, and so they don't eat them. But if you think about what the liver does, you wouldn't eat that either. But they do. Although I personally don't care for liver that much. Kidneys I'm much more comfortable with. So ox kidneys, as you see here, are quite big, and you don't need to do much to prepare them except just cut out the outside and then and throw away the inside membrane. Whereas pig's kidneys, and you can see them here, you have to be a little bit more delicate. And so we'll start here, and I'll show you that you have to slice them halfway through, and then we'll work from there. Well, let's actually do the whole preparation from start to finish, and in the process I'll go into more detail about preparing the kidneys. First thing I need to do is to melt some butter in a skillet. And it's important to use butter because I'm going to make a sauce, and the sauce is going to need a roux, and so I'm starting with the butter, and then I'll show you how to add the flour in a little bit. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to chop up a shallot. Most recipes for deviled kidneys will call for an onion. Here in Cambodia, I can get plenty of onions, of course. Usually I use leeks in my recipes, as I did last time for steak and kidney pie, steak and kidney pudding, because I like them more than I like onions. But for this dish, I'm going to use a shallot. Shallots in Europe and in the United States tend to be quite expensive. They're not here. I can buy 200 grams of shallots. That in other words, about 8 shallots for $1. So it's really dirt cheap. Just peel them, chop them, and then put them in the butter under on a sort of medium-ish heat. You just want them to get translucent. And meanwhile, we're going to work on the kidneys. And as I said, cut them open and you reveal the white membranes on the inside with the tubules. And you've got to get the meat of the kidney off the tubules. Step one, a sharp knife. And this is something that's been plaguing me for a long time in Cambodia because I haven't had a good knife sharpener. And lo and behold, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was shopping around in the utensils section of the supermarket I use once in a while, and there was this long rod knife sharpener, the kind of sharpener that when I was a boy in England and in Australia, and maybe they still use them, the butchers used to use. And I have a high carbon steel knife, kitchen knife. Well, I have several. I have a paring knife of high carbon steel. I also have a cleaver of high carbon steel. Here you just swipe it up, down, up, down, up, down. You get it nice and sharp. It's really important. It's important for all kinds of kitchen tasks, but it's really important for getting the kidneys prepared. So first thing I do, and I'm sorry that my arms are in the way, and if you're a Cambodian, you can see those arms, and you don't have to see my face. You say, he's not Asian. Look at those hairy arms. He looks like a gorilla. Anyway, you take off the top and bottom part of each half, and then you take off whatever you can along the sides that is pure meat. Then you turn it over, and you slice down the back, and so what you're left with is the white membranes in the middle. And you do that again and again until you've got both halves done of both kidneys. Then you're ready to move on. The next step is to put some flour into a bag, and normally the recipe books will say to use a brown paper bag, but the kidneys tend to be a bit moist, and if you put them in a brown paper bag, they're likely to burst through the bag. So I use a plastic bag, flour in goes the kidney meat, shake, 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 shake. Make sure that they're all really covered in the flour, because that's not only going to keep them dry, but it's also going to make a roux with the butter. So back over to the stove on medium-high heat. The shallots have now softened up. Add the kidneys. And in fact, I turned the heat up all the way to high at this point. And you just want to give them some color. They're not going to cook completely. You're going to have to do that in the next step. But toss until they're all nicely browned. And now we're going to add 3 ingredients, and I'll show you here. First of all, Coleman's mustard. Now, there are many different powdered mustards that you can get worldwide, and you can get a fair number in England also, but Coleman's mustard is the gold standard. That's the one that we all use in powdered form, and we used to mix it up in an egg cup with a little dash of water until you've got a paste. In this case, you don't need a paste. You just toss the mustard, about a tablespoonful, into the pan itself, and then add broth. In this case, it's a pork broth that I had, just enough to cover, and then Worcestershire sauce. And again, Lee and Perrins is the gold standard. And strangely enough, I can get both Coleman's mustard and Lee and Perrins Worcestershire sauce in Cambodia. Not everywhere. I have to hunt it out. and I've got a couple of places where I can get them. The Worcestershire sauce adds a little bit of zing. I did also add some red pepper a little later, but the mustard is really hot, and so bring it to a simmer and stir, and the flour on the kidneys plus the butter plus the broth is making a nice thickened sauce, and you need to simmer, maybe 15-20 minutes. It kind of depends, but that's about long enough in order to cook the kidneys. You've got to cook them more than just saute them. And now you've got a zingy sauce, cooked kidneys. Take some toast and put the kidneys and the sauce on the toast, and there you have deviled kidneys. Perfectly wonderful English breakfast that's been made for 100 years or more. So that's deviled kidneys. I don't know what I'm going to be doing on Friday. Haven't thought that far ahead yet. Be some kind of musing. And I don't think I'm going to do steak and kidney pudding for next Tuesday, but I'm not sure. I have to wait and see. I've got a ton of stuff in my freezer which I'm trying to get rid of, and I want to do that before I start adding more things to it. So meanwhile, please like, please subscribe, have a wonderful week, and I will see you on Friday.